Welcome back to another episode of Into the Nexus. I'm your host, Corey, and today we're diving deep into the science of revenue generation, go-to-market execution, and what it really takes to scale a modern business-to-business SaaS company. Our guest today is Carter Perez, the CEO and co-founder of Revenue Chemists. Carter is a battle-tested revenue leader and fractional executive who has spent his career unlocking explosive growth for tech and SaaS companies. Through Revenue Chemists, he and his team help dozens of high-growth organizations align their sales and marketing engines, fix leaky funnels, and accelerate predictability. Beyond leading Revenue Chemists, Carter is the CEO of SASE Sales Leadership. He serves on the board of the Silicon Valley Executive VP Sales Forum and was formerly the chairman of the Charlotte chapter of Pavilion. On top of that, he is a trusted strategic advisor and investor to standout tech companies like Novatic and People AI. Whether you're looking to optimize your pipeline, build an agile go-to-market model, or bridge the gap between sales and marketing, Carter is one of the brightest minds in the game. Carter, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Corey.
Thank you so much. Well, without further ado, let's jump right in and tell us a bit about your background and the journey that led you into the consultant industry.
Sure. So I have been, if you go stalk me on LinkedIn, I've been a lifelong revenue leader. I started my career in sales at Xerox back when it was one of the world's best sales organizations, and was really fortunate to spend 10 years there through various sales leadership, and management roles. And while I was there, I was running a dealer channel, and I had the nation's largest dealer, over 50 reps, supporting over 55,000 customers in the in the western area of the United States. Give me 30 minutes notice that they were defecting to a competitor after I'd been in this job for 3 months. And so
Wow.
I got the amazing opportunity to put back together a team and scale it under the umbrella of Xerox. And that was when I really got bit by the scaling bug, because I'm like, wow, this is super cool. I'm really enjoying it. And so after I left Xerox, I looked to put myself into those scaling type of situations going forward. And it was fortuitously right about the time that SaaS was launched and became a thing. And I lived and worked in Silicon Valley, so I had a very rich slate of accounts or companies that I could go practice my craft on.
Wow. So 30 minutes notice.
30 minutes. I ended up having to rent a 40-foot semi or 40-foot long box truck, drive it over to the dealer's location and load up all of Xerox's documentation, all of its copiers, everything, because they were defecting to a competitor. So we had to get that stuff out of there as quickly as possible. So it was a little moving as well as sales strategy.
Wow, that's how you did that. I don't know, but kudos to you and the team that did that. 30 minutes is not a lot of time to make a move like that and pivot to what you had to. So that's amazing. Well, given this background that you have in consulting, and you've been in this for quite some time, when you zoom out and look at the wider consulting landscape, what would you say are the major shifts or trends that are shaping the future of the consultant industry?
I mean, I don't think you can even start this conversation without talking about AI. Not only, I think it's impacting consulting in a couple of significant ways. One, for me, I'm able to get more work done in less time than I ever have before, because I can have 2 or 3 projects going at the same time, all processing in parallel that I'm working on. And so it's multiplying my productivity. I think the other thing that can be both beneficial to clients and also potentially damaging is it makes a lot more knowledge available to anyone that's willing to spend the time and massage the prompts to get the information they want. And so it could potentially, I think we've all seen the emails, RIP McKinsey or RIP Bain or stuff like that. And certainly having friends in the consulting business, where it's impacting consulting is in the larger companies, they're not hiring those junior consultants out of college. They're staying with their seasoned partners and that type of thing. So I think two things: one, enables productivity; two, opens up knowledge to a much wider audience. I think the danger there is knowledge without experience or without the practical application can be very damaging as well. So, it's a word to the wise or word of warning. What is it? Things may look bigger than they appear in the mirror.
Yeah, that's what it says. Yep.
Use AI, but use it cautiously.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Let's go over to Revenue Chemists. Tell us about how this started, what you do, and who you do it for.
Sure. So Revenue Chemist started when my business partner, a gentleman by the name of Aaron Balshaw, and I had scaled 3 companies together. I was either the CRO or VP of sales. He was the CMO. And we developed a really good operating rhythm as we scaled these different companies and really kind of developed a system that we used that we found we could unplug from one company and take the basic principles, plug it into another company and scale it just as successfully. And so a number of these companies were international. And so the two of us got the blessing or the curse to do a lot of international travel, which meant we, in a lot of cases, sat next to each other in an airplane seat for 10 hours or something crazy like that, right? And so you talk about a lot of things on those flights, and we kind of recognized this pattern and decided that while we were both operators and didn't have any plans to go into consulting, we should, knowing at some point that we probably would, we decided to found the company. And we did that in 2015, I think it was, and kind of parked it on the side. And then in 2020, I came back to it, having left Silicon Valley to improve my quality of life and move on to Lake Norman outside of Charlotte. And I started doing, it was right about the time COVID broke out. And so I started doing some small projects for people in the local area. The first engagement was to help a gentleman who was moving his business from New York City down to Charlotte, hire and train a team of SDRs. And so I did that for about 4 months. And as I was doing that, word kind of spread through my network that I was out and doing consulting. And I was fortunate enough to have a bunch of people reach out and see if they could engage me. And the rest is history.
It's often the strangest places that you decide, hey, you know what? Let's start this venture together. Let's do it. It's never, everyone I've spoken to, it's never been in a formal setting or anything. It's always, and I love it. It's always, you're on an airplane, or you're gone out just to have lunch, have some drinks with a friend, and then you start talking about this idea, and then it's like, are we crazy? Can we really do this? But yeah, that's amazing. That's great. So now that you told us how the company started and what you do, what does a typical day look like for you?
Sure. So we really do 3 different types of engagements. We do fractional revenue leadership, where I, either myself or my partner, go into an organization and essentially become the CMO or the VP of sales and work with that company to fix whatever problems or challenges they might be having. We also do consulting, so where you come in and ask us to analyze a problem and suggest potential outcomes or potential fixes. And then we do some coaching or mentoring as well. And so the day really depends on what one of those three or which combination of those three we're doing. If we're doing a lot of fractional work at the time, it looks just like a normal CMO or VP of sales would have. I'm going on sales calls, I'm doing one-on-ones, I'm doing forecasting, I'm prepping for a board meeting, all of the things that you would see a VP of sales, CRO, revenue leader do on a day-to-day basis. If it's coaching or consulting, obviously a little bit more analytical in nature, but it might be, analyzing how do we sell a particular piece of software that's been very successful in small and medium-sized businesses into enterprises, and what does that new selling motion look like? What is the new ICP or ideal customer profile look like? What personas are we going to sell to? And defining all of those and then going out and testing the process in the marketplace to learn and then iterate.
So with all of that, would you be able to provide an example of a specific problem that you would solve for a customer and tell us why that would matter to your customers?
Sure. So let me give you an example of something I'm working on right now. I'm helping a company that has HR software. So think of it as a competitor to maybe Bamboo or Gusto or those types of companies. So they've been very successful in the SMB marketplace, and they've had some limited success in the enterprise strata. And so they've asked me to come in and analyze what's happening in the enterprise segment and what do we need to change to have improve our conversion rates, win more business at that enterprise level. And so we went through and analyzed all of the closed won calls that they'd had into enterprise accounts to identify a pattern. And then we're going and revising their sales process to fit into that pattern and deploying it in the market. So one of the things that pretty much happens regardless of who we're engaging and what project we're working on is a scientific method. So we are big about trying to figure out what's happening. We come up with a hypothesis. This is what we think is preventing us from achieving our goals. We then go understand numerically facts, what's actually happening, and try and codify and quantify that. And then we go test that. And as you might imagine, not every first test works. And so then it's about iterating and saying, okay, well, what didn't work? What do we need to change? And then let's go test it again. So there's this continuous hypothesis, test, adjustment, hypothesis, test, adjustment methodology.
Okay. It sounds pretty interesting. Like you've definitely had a lot of clients that you've helped out along the way. And I'm sure each and every one of them have been absolutely grateful for what you've been able to do for them and help propel their companies forward and solve those problems that they've been facing, that they were struggling to figure out how to push through. When you look at all of that and try to think of one of your proudest moments from all the clients that you've helped, what would you say would be your proudest, if not one of your proudest moments in terms of impact or outcomes so far?
Sure. So I think one of my proudest moments would be going in as a fractional VP of sales into a smaller company, helping them double their revenue in the space of about 16 months, and then helping them through an acquisition. They were acquired by a larger competitor. So it ended up being a rewarding monetary experience for the founders and the employees because it was a strategic acquisition and came at a really healthy multiple.
Okay. And on the flip side, there's always, with good, there's always some bad or some challenges, we will say.
Sure.
What would you say is the toughest part about getting revenue chemists into the hands of your ideal customer?
I think it's in some cases, because virtually always we're dealing with either the co-founder or the CEO, and in a lot of cases that person is the same. And so there, at times it calls for us to tell them that their baby is ugly, right? And they just, in not all, but I've had 2 or 3 situations where the CEO and co-founder was so close to the issue that they couldn't see it. And even sharing the numerical, hey, look, here's what the facts tell us in your pipeline, they still didn't change their behavior or act differently, despite the fact that the facts were telling us something entirely different. And so, in one case, the CEO and I disagreed, and we decided that, if we're not going to make these changes, then it's probably not worth working together.
Right.
And so we ended the engagement.
Now, when you face that situation, do they ever come back around and have that realization that, you know what, I should have listened to you in the first place? Can we revisit this and see what we can do?
Well, they're never going to admit that they should have listened to you in the first place. No, interestingly enough, so of those 3 examples that I mentioned, 2 of the 3 came back. One is a particularly obstinate CEO, and he refuses to believe that what I was telling him was true, and so he has not changed his way yet.
I mean, all you could do is advise, right? And it's up to them to decide, let me take the advice, work with it, or stay the course and see no change. Or you never know, they could have a miracle breakthrough. But oftentimes, if you're so close attached to it, you may not see it. That's why you ask for outside help. So people like yourselves are able to step in and say, A, B, and C is not working. We think you need to pivot towards this. We've seen other companies who have been able to have success by doing this, who are in your similar type of situations. But it's, I guess, sometimes you have to let go of the ego and really step back and say, okay, you know what, I'm a proud person. I wanted to make this work my way. It's not working. You just have to accept sometimes that help is around the corner, and you just have to take it sometimes. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in the same loop.
Yeah, and I think, I think one of the things that makes us unique as a company and as a consultancy is our low friction engagement process. So our engagement is 2 documents: a mutual non-disclosure, because obviously we're going to be working with information that people don't want out in the public, and 2, a letter of understanding. And that letter of understanding has 4 bullet points on it. It has a high level scope. I'm not a big fan of spending tons of time defining the scope, because the reality is, within 2 weeks of us working together, the scope is going to change, because we'll start to know what the problems are. The fact that we've signed a mutual non-disclosure, an hourly rate, and then either party can cancel with 2 weeks notice. So we're big believers in value. And if we're not providing value, we're not trying to lock a company into a long-term engagement where they're not getting value out of our work together. So, and I think that's led to a lot of engagements where people were maybe kind of feeling it out, maybe not sure, but wanted to try something. And they engaged us, and, we ended up working together for 12 months or something like that.
Yeah, and it's a low risk but high reward outcome.
That's right.
Okay. Now, with Revenue Chemists, when you look at your company and the way things are operating on the day-to-day, with every company, like I mentioned earlier, we all face some challenges. Would you say that you have any bottlenecks around pipeline outreach or lead conversions, for example?
Absolutely. As most consultancies, our business has run on referrals and our network for quite a bit. I think, my partner is within the next, I'd say 2 years or so, probably going to leave his operating role and join the business full time. And so we're talking through writing a book, which we've got about 200 pages done on, starting to get more aggressive on our content so that we can support the business outside of just referrals and networking.
Yeah, no, a book, that's amazing. That's definitely going to bring in some additional people who can share that through their networks and get that attraction and bring them into for a consult.
That's right.
Okay, very nice. I can't wait. When you're done that book, I definitely want to see a copy of it. I'd definitely like to take a look through.
I would love to have you read it and give us your feedback.
Absolutely. So that kind of covers your next 6 to 12 months. What you're working on already is the book and having the partner come over full time. Is there anything else there that you want the business to achieve or reach in the next 6 to 12 months?
I mean, I think continue to make progress with AI and how we're using AI in the GTM space. I think there's a lot of hype out there about, what's happening or what's potentially happening, but not necessarily a lot of results or ROI. So, I think we're also super early in the life cycle of this technology. So I'd say right now we're definitely in the hype cycle of it. And so every day I'm seeing more and more use cases that are meaningful and significant. And I'll give you an example of one. So one of the customers I worked with recently responds to a lot of RFPs, and our win rate on those RFPs was very low, but the effort to produce the RFP was significant, in the order of kind of 40 to 80 hours per RFP. And it wasn't uncommon for us to we had a full-time person that was an RFP writer to support this process. And, we said, gosh, there's got to be a better way to, one, qualify these RFPs and understand which ones we should and shouldn't be responding to. And then two, if we decide to respond, there's got to be a more efficient way to put together all of the answers that the RFP requires. And so what we did is we took all of the RFPs that we had won and we put them in an LLM, and then we pointed Claude in this case at the LLM and said, study this. These are all of our won RFPs. When a new RFP is entered, go through with the following. We had a checklist essentially, yes, and rate the newly received RFP, score it in terms of our potential to win. And over time, we tuned it. What we found was that if we didn't have 80% chance of winning or better, we just stopped responding to it because the RFP criteria were so general. We hadn't influenced them. And so we were spending a lot of money and time responding to RFPs that we were realistically never going to win. We then developed a second agent that would go in and put the response together. That reduced our response time from that kind of 40 to 80 hours to 10 to 20, because in this case, Claude put together the response package, and then all we had to do was share it with the account executive and the solutions engineer that were on the account, and they could read through the response for accuracy and verbiage, tone, those types of things. But what we found is as we continued to train it, it was requiring less and less oversight. And so that's a great example of AI with a significant ROI or business justification behind it.
And that honestly, that answered my next question about AI. If you see it as practical for ROI, or is it just a hyped up buzzword? But you just provided an amazing example. You showed that, a lot of what AI offers is going to be dependent on how you interact with AI itself. So you obviously, from listening to you, I could tell you've done some of your homework and research on how to do some proper prompting. And prompting is king in this case, because you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And of course, there's so much information that it has available to you. It can do so much and connect you to multiple different avenues and streams that you use in your day-to-day business. So learning how to teach it to learn about your business is huge. That way, as you mentioned, receiving that list and going through it and figuring out which is going to be best for you and which ones will not, so you're not wasting your time. And slashing that time down from 80 hours to 20 hours, that saves you so much time, and you can focus your efforts now on other deliverables that you need to work on. So yeah, you answered that question for me perfectly. I think that was a great example, and it shows like AI is practical. It's just a matter of how you use it and knowing where you should use it, and maybe you don't need to use it in certain areas, because we still, a lot of us with this, you still have the human aspect in it. Human in the loop are still involved, so you can't take that away fully. But using AI as an addition to the knowledge that you have, it can just, in my opinion, it's making things easier and helping you to further your business along and further yourself as well, because you're learning along with it while you're teaching it. It's also teaching you.
Yeah, but I'd say, Corey, even things that, think about a selling scenario where a rep is trying to sell into a new account, right? In pre-AI days, that would have required, 2 to 4 hours of research, right? Where they're looking at, if it's a public company, the 10K, 10Q, reading the shareholder letters, looking at, performance, articles that were recently written, going to the your contacts, LinkedIn pages, all of those types of things. Now that can be done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You put in a prompt and say, hey, I'm trying to break into this account. Here's all the things I want you to check. Press a button, and 5 minutes later you can walk back and it's got 20 pages or more on this new account that you're trying to break into. And so very quickly you can become familiarized. So even something as rudimentary as that can be a huge time saver.
Absolutely it is. That's why we are big supporters of it, as long as it's being used in the correct way. We don't like to see some people who decide to use it for other reasons, but in our scenarios, in our cases, we're using it to support you in the best way possible and help your teams grow in the way that they need. So let me ask you this then. Now that you've divulged that AI is a positive component in your workspace, and you see it as a pro rather than a negative, with all the genius and capabilities that it has and what you've used it for, would you still look at yourself and say there's still one big major thing you would love to fix? If you had a magic wand and knew how to make AI do it, what would be that one thing you'd want to fix that is maybe holding Revenue Chemists back right now?
Well, I think, and I'll share, this is a project we're working on. We're working on putting together an AI marketer for Revenue Chemists. So, I'm either busy delivering or, talking with clients about their next project, the scope of something they want to do. And so that doesn't always leave me a bunch of time to do prospecting. And so we are working through kind of an AI marketer that will suggest, channels we should be thinking about, content we should be thinking about. We'll also look for potential candidates in our ICP that might make sense to do an outreach to the CEO. Still early days, but we're doing a lot of experimentation with it to see if it's something that we could really put into productivity.
You know what? Mentioning that, I think that's maybe it might be a good fit or not, but it's something to look into. I may be able to assist with that. So I think if you're open, we could have a chat further offline and look more into that, because it does fall in the realm of what we do offer. And I think we'd be able to assist with that, but we'll take that offline and have a chat.
Perfect.
Now, we made it through this far. And this is the part where I love to ask you if you were starting fresh, you're brand new in consulting, knowing everything you know now, what would you do to get started, and what advice would you give to others who want to get started in the consulting space?
I think for my partner and I, what has worked is that we have very deep domain expertise. I've scaled probably close to 60 companies between my operating role and the last 6 years at Revenue Chemists. So that affords me a level of pattern recognition, of an ability to understand what's happening or what's not happening, and some potential ways to fix it. And so I think, part of what makes us valuable as consultants is our breadth of experience and our ability to bring that experience, that pattern recognition, into a business and help them identify and resolve their problem. So, I think for us, part of what's incumbent on anybody to get into this in this space, in our space, is doing the seat time in running sales organizations, running marketing organizations, scaling companies until you have that breadth of experience that allows you to kind of come to that hypothesis about what needs to change faster.
Okay, pretty good advice. So those listening, take advice from Carter. He knows what he's talking about, been in the game a long time, and I'm pretty sure, going based off of his knowledge, if he was starting today, that is exactly what he would do. So take note of that. And Carter, finally, let the people know, how can they get in touch with you and your team at Revenue Chemists?
Sure. They can hit us up on the web at our website, revenuechemist.com, or feel free to email me at carter.perez@revenuechemist.com.
Perfect. And I will link those in the description below.
Perfect.
Carter, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And we'll meet up. We'll have a chat. And I look forward to the book. Can't wait to see it.
Thanks so much, Corey. Really enjoyed the discussion.
All right. Thanks again for joining. Everyone, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you next time.